To know who we are, and where we're going, we must know how we arrived here. Welcome to Rephetic, a revolutionary study of the Great Pyramid, which promises to rewrite civilization's history. Todd.
What's up, Davey?
Welcome to Rephetic Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We got the lovely assistant here, Miss Patty, helping us.
She's killing it.
Producer.
That's right.
So, yeah, tell us about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm just kind of a blue-collar guy, I think.
Black collar today.
Black collarless. 42-year-old white male.
Right. Yeah. Identify as Todd.
I identify as he, him, Todd.
Right.
Been married for about 14 years.
Right. Lost a couple there.
Yeah.
2 kids, 3 kids.
3 kids.
Yeah.
11-year-old twins and a 3-year-old.
Nice.
My son Henry.
Right.
It's
right.
just an absolute blast. So.
Right. He wouldn't let go of my hand the other day.
I know. He wanted you to be his new daddy. And that's
Right.
pretty much any man that comes into our kitchen.
Be my
He's
new
like
daddy.
ready to trade me in.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
Yeah, man.
So what I really like about you is, you discount yourself as a non-intellectual, which is crazy, but you're rebuilding cars, you're a home inspector, you're kind of a do-it-all DIY kind of guy.
Yeah, no, I guess so. I don't know if, I've never really given myself the benefit of the doubt. That's kind of been.
Well, today you can.
Okay. Well, I own a couple of businesses, all of which are young and small, and I try to stay busy, either working for my business or growing my business. For some, at whatever level I'm capable of on any given day.
Yeah.
And as a hobby, apparently I build hot rods and
run around on the weekends
and go on little ventures to different racetracks and venues all over the Midwest. And
you have a YouTube channel, right?
I do. It's Mayer Motorsports.
Right.
And
follow along.
Subscribe if you'd like. It's for me. It's just a place where I get to share something I really love, and I didn't know how I was going to. I didn't know really what it was going to be, and it's still kind of in its infancy.
Yeah, let me tell the viewers, though.
Okay, go for it.
So at the beginning, Todd is watching all those Saturday morning shows for like a couple of years. And I thought, why is he so obsessed with that stuff? And I thought, well, great, as a hobby, but I never thought you're going to build your first car,
No, me either.
So that's been interesting to watch.
Yeah, and that's really how I think, I've known you for almost 20 years.
Right.
And and we lived together, and life happened and brought us together, and then you did Dave, and I did Todd, and but fast forward a bunch of years, and I get to a place in my life where I can actually try to enjoy some personal passions of mine, and man, I didn't realize it, but you do upholstery also, so that's what brought us together.
Right. Yeah, that was crazy.
Your true passion.
Oh,
upholstery.
Yeah, I love sitting behind the sewing machine. And for my part, too, obviously the viewers aren't going to know, but I've been sewing since I was 10, so that's 42 years.
Yeah.
And the whole family trade, brothers, uncles, everybody else.
Yeah. So, but that brought us together. And, you helped design that, and from
your first car, 68?
Yeah, for a 68 Camaro. That was a really nice Pro Touring build. And, from design to just all the creative features, you put your spin on it, and everybody loved it. It was cool. So anyways, that was kind of interesting how I think me and you kind of got together, became closer friends through some of that stuff. Of course, we've known each other and been
Plus,
friends.
you paid me.
I did pay you.
Right.
I did pay you.
That helped.
Yeah, so maybe I paid for your friendship. Either way, it was a good.
It's the only way I can get friends.
Money well spent.
Money well spent.
Me. Yeah, man. So, it's been cool, and live here in the St. Charles area for the last 20 years, and just grown family and friends, and all that fun life stuff.
Right.
So
day to day, man.
Day to day.
That's what everybody's doing out there.
Yeah. It can be a grind, or it can be a lot better
Joyful,
than that.
Yeah.
So.
Right. And so also we're here on the banks of the Missouri.
Yeah.
Probably a couple hundred yards from the Lewis and Clark campsite.
Yeah.
So for people that want to know, I mean, in terms of frontier adventure up to Missouri, whatever.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know, I jumped right into all the Rephetic topic, but, it's kind of fitting. And then this place, which I'm not going to mention, but this is where my project started as I sketched it out on a yellow notepad and all that, 2009. So,
yeah, it's been a minute. It's come a long way.
yeah, I'm still in the trees. I can't see it. I don't know.
Well, I can.
Yeah, okay, good.
And
I hope hopefully
over the
somebody
past
can.
13, 14 years, this thing has gone from an idea that you talked laboriously about,
Everybody's listened to it.
Yeah, but, that's the thing, right? That's kind of, not everybody's going to understand it or be into it, but it's not necessarily relevant for something that you're passionate about, right?
Yeah, it'll find its audience.
It'll find its audience, and it'll grow at the speed or level or pace that it's going to grow. But you've stuck with it. You've gotten more and more passionate about it. You've done more and more work on it. You've developed, you have tangible, work that you've produced.
And the argument, the modeling.
The modeling, all the theories, all the oh my gosh, all the work that goes into
questions, investigation, research. Yeah.
But the footwork that's required to substantiate
an idea
in a position like that.
Let's go easy on the position thing.
Well,
for this point.
Yeah. All right. Well, you believe something.
Well, the evidence steers us in a certain way.
Yes. You're passionate about this idea about, whatever your theory is, right?
Yeah, but true that. But this is what I'm saying about you building cars or anybody, right? I mean, you can DIY people out there, moms and dads doing school projects, or a guy doing his own plumbing, his own roofing, fixing his own car.
Yeah.
Homesteaders putting in their own well, running electricity. Every laborer out there, or guys in the automotive field, medical technicians, you name it, people are solving problems. That's really what I don't know if it's epigenetic. It's like these things are passed down. Let me break that down for you.
That is a $100 word.
In a $10 conversation. Epigenetic.
Anyways,
yeah.
Epigenetic. Okay.
But it's like we're solving problems. We're problem-solving creatures. We're storytelling beings, and that's what I like. And I go into it in the channel video, just how this all happened at the beginning. And it's still fascinating to me. But yet, I think if you really dove into anyone's psyche, you would see a very similar thing, which is got a problem, ask some questions, explore a solution.
Yeah.
I mean, people do it when they get dressed. People do it when they, prepare for a party, this, that, whatever. So.
Yeah, I think those are just, primitive operating systems that we all carry
problem
along.
solving. How are we going to not die today?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, critical thing. Like when I'm like, hey, man, I need you to vacuum the stairs with the vacuum. And he's like, where's it at? And I'm like, buddy, you're an 11-year-old kid, man. Let me tell you what, we need to polish up on some of these critical thinking skill set.
We're going to put your name in it.
Yeah. And he's like, Dad, it's dead. The battery's dead. I'm like, well, here's your next challenge, my friend.
Let's find the charger.
Let's find the charger. Yeah. It's like, anyways, I mean, if you're a parent or you have any experience with kids, it's just, that's just part of it. But, the older I get, the more I recognize that I have those skill sets, and the more I recognize how incredibly important they are. You know what I mean? And how developing them, at least, even my son, who's got everything and doesn't need anything.
Right.
It's like, I got to put some adversity in this kid's life so we can, no parent really wants to do that, but I think most parents understand that. And I think
send them for the metric battery charger.
That's right. Right. Yeah, the chain. I don't even know. Blinker fluid or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's nice. So, Patty's got experience with the blinker fluid. So I miss Patty.
She can't.
You gonna say hi?
No.
Come on, give us a shout out.
Give us a clap. Oh shit.
Oh, there's Chrissy. Do it.
Hey, Hey, come here. Come on.
Don't behind the window. Don't tell him not to be behind the window.
Okay.
Anyway.
He looked kind of homeless. I thought it might be funny.
Yeah, I think he's technically homeless.
I guess. Well, yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
not to
That's all
downplay
right,
the
dude.
homeless.
I think we've all been there.
What is it? What's the new
Most
word
of my
for that?
friends.
Home challenged?
Oh, no, man. It's got to be. I think it's something better than that. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Anyways.
So, like, well, here's the challenge for me. It's like, how crazy does it sound when your buddy's got an idea, or you come to me, hey, what about this car? What do you think I could do with this or this or this? How crazy is it when you have to listen to somebody else's stuff?
Well, here's the thing: is that when we were younger, I think we were. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I had very little confidence in my abilities as a human being. Okay. And I used to think that that's how it was going to be all the time. Like, that's just my life. I'm going to just be challenged to have the confidence to, fill in the blank, whatever it is, right? And the older I get, and the more adversity I face in my life, whether it's relationship-based, whether it's, employment, whether it's COVID, whether it's my children, selfishness, whatever, it's myself, self-imposed, regardless, and just, a lot of life lived, and a lot of challenges met, and a lot of solutions created, and a lot of battles won, right? I've slowly evolved into this person with more confidence and more skill set when it comes to critical thinking, when it comes to problem solving, improvising. I spent a lot of my time in my career as a project manager, improvising. I mean, that was part of my job description. Like, when things hit the fan, we got to figure things out, keep things on the rails, right? So, but that's a process, man. That's part of the maturation process.
Yeah,
right?
like on the day, on the site, figure it out.
Yeah. Well, in the life, experiencing life, whether it's, I invested $1.3 million into a powder coating business.
Right. How'd that turn out?
Well, let me tell you, I got bought out amicably.
Right.
Okay, about 8 or 9 months after I bought that business, and my partner and I didn't see eye to eye, but we were friendly about it. It was like, hey, look, he offered to buy me out for the third time, and I was like, you know what, let's go ahead and do this, and I left. But I wasn't able to get off of the financial piece, which was the loan for the business.
Yeah, the sticking point.
The big piece, the only piece that really mattered. Anyways, fast forward, 3-4 years, COVID hits, the market tanks, and my ex-partner goes under. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm faced with, the position as a guarantor, and I got to make good on this loan that went bad.
Yeah.
But there's some things going on. It doesn't look all doom and gloom. It was an SBA loan. Anyways, the bottom line is like, that's the kind of life that people live. That's the kind of stuff that happens in people's lives. And
yeah, ups, downs.
Everybody's dealing with that.
Right, successes, failures, all of it.
Big, little, some of the little ones seem really, really big. Some of the big ones don't seem to bother you at all, right? But it's all relative to your life and the people in it and who it affects. So, the jury's still out on my deal, but I can tell you 10 years ago, if this were to happen to me, I'd be a hot mess.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Panic sets in.
I'd be like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get through this? My home is tied to it. My wife's name's on it. All of our crap. All of our, which we don't have a ton of assets.
Stuff, man.
I get it.
Stuff.
I get it. All my stuff. But anyways, and I know better today. To tie. I'd be lying if I said it was complete. They can have it all. My feelings would be hurt. And I'd have to get used to not having stuff.
That would be my approach.
Yeah, I know. You'd be like, hey, dude, if it don't fit in the van, then I don't need it.
Yeah. Newsflash: Uncle Dave has a van.
A van.
And I can move in 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Right, baby?
That's quick.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Anyways.
So we navigate through all this good, bad, assets, liabilities, all that.
Yeah, but I think, as a younger human being,
Boy, that creak is pretty loud.
that was, yeah. It's appropriate for the person making the creek.
I think we're going to do some episodes with Chrissy
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
Did you
what's
lock
up,
that
bro?
door? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, anyways, so you grow up, you have this perception of who you are and your capabilities as a young human being, and then as you get kicked in the face and served up, crap sandwiches,
like in your 20s, just
like in your
scared
20s,
shitless.
and then you think you're not going to have to eat that many more crap sandwiches in your 30s, and they're like,
Oh, wait, he tastes
second
this
serving,
one.
yeah. No, it's just not, it's now on rye bread instead of wheat or whatever,
Yeah.
So
No mayo, dry.
yeah,
Dry.
oh, yeah. No, sorry, we're out of water.
Dressing.
You know what I
No
mean?
water. Sorry.
So naturally, you find ways to manage and detach, and really. And fortunately, as we all kind of meander through life, we start to really identify real value.
Mm-hmm.
What has real value in our lives?
Yeah, and,
know?
and what's the key component to that? Like, how do you assess anything?
Well, I think naturally, if it makes me feel good,
Well, yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
Then there's probably some value associated. But how do you prioritize the things that make you feel good? And are they self-serving? Are they frothy? Like, do they have any depth?
Mhm. Yeah, you just pat yourself on the back. And move
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Or stuff. Is the stuff a prior?
Yeah. And the reason I'm asking this is like really falls in line with the main focus. So my work, obviously rooted in the Great Pyramid and this new hypotheses, et cetera, but the real, I was talking with Jeremy the other day. Jeremy's the editor on the book project. So the study is just the vehicle to get us to the thing. The thing is what this is, which is how do I come to some accurate assessment of myself, my motivations, my liabilities, my assets, essentially the perennial questions. Who are we? Where we're going? And the big one, how did anybody get here?
Yeah.
Parental stuff, dysfunction, trauma, life experience. Like sitting down or doing it as an ongoing process, right? Mm-hmm. Much like the spiritual process I'm on, the one you're on, in the spiritual kindergarten. It's like, you better figure it out, or we're just going to keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And the life lessons just keep coming as quick as you can live a day.
Yeah. No, it's all real heavy stuff. Like, and the older you get and the more you pay attention, the more relative those questions become, or better yet, more relevant the answers to those questions become, right?
Right.
And nobody, in my opinion, has this absolute, like 100%, this is how this is how it went.
But are people looking for certainty?
Yeah, well, I don't think so. I think maybe they would want it if they could have it.
Okay.
But I think the reality is, and this is my experience, is that I can't have it.
Yeah.
So I have to do the best I can with what I got. And, that's in my life and how I live and what I believe, the spiritual piece is incredibly relevant to be able to kind of live with yourself.
Yeah. Stay peaceful.
Stay
serene.
peaceful,
Yeah.
stay without having those absolute
Right.
answers.
And we're not talking about selling flowers at the airport or any of this either.
No,
We're just talking about like just a real grounded sense of
Yeah.
the transcendental, the luminous.
Yeah. So
Just
it's like,
harmony, whatever, however you want to define it.
Well, the question, like, what's the meaning of life?
Is there one?
You know what? I don't know, but it was posed to me as a child as a question that nobody really knew the answer to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But the grown-ups are afraid to say that to the kid, like, let's figure it out.
Yeah. Well, and
Because there might not be one.
No, you're right. You're right. Well, depending on what you believe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I can tell you that was and we all have our own experiences as we grow up, right? we're raised a certain way, we're taught certain things, and whatever. My experience is like this was a question that was on a commercial. You know, somebody had posed this question. I don't get to choose what I remember as a child.
Yeah, right.
But I remember watching a show, and you know, the meaning of something about that question, the meaning of life, and I was just like, man, what a.
Was this in a cartoon or something?
I think it was like an alcohol. I don't know. Commercial
After school special.
Yeah, I don't know. But what the bottom line was, it was like I didn't have a clue.
Right.
Like I don't know what the meaning of life is, dude. You
Yeah.
know? But all I'm getting at is like, you know, we're trying to find some meaning, right? I think as you grow up, at least for me, I think I would always try to find some meaning in what I'm doing. But you know, fast forward, you know, decades, here I am sitting here with you.
Right.
And the meaning of life, I certainly have the answer to that today for me.
Yeah, which is
For
what?
me.
What is it?
So that's a great question.
I'm saying value.
No, it's absolute value.
Okay.
It's value in, for me, it's the relationships today.
Okay.
It's about 80-90% relationships and about 10, this is a skewed breakdown, but it's like relationships and passion projects, like things that bring me joy.
Yeah.
Right? So, and slowly but surely, like I'm married with kids, and I can tell you right now, 14 years ago when I got married, I would tell my wife that I love her, but I'm not quite sure I really knew what that was. Looking back, I didn't have a clue what that was. You know, I said the things that she needed me to say. I thought I knew what those things were, and then, you know, over time, I was like, oh man, this really sucks.
Yeah, this is how the sausage is made.
Who would choose to do this, you know? So what I've learned through, you know, adversity in life and all that other stuff.
Right. So value, relationships,
Yes,
and then passion projects.
Yeah, so meaning of life. Like, I mean, it sounds so cheesy, but purpose might be probably the more appropriate question, right? What's my purpose, right? So really, man, I've kind of shed everything that's superficial, and I have focused on the relationships that have done something for me inside. Right?
Yeah, worthy investment. Yeah.
Well, and from a spiritual aspect, it's like, you know, the longevity of joy, like something that lasts longer than a day or, you know, moments, right? So joy is a long-term state for me. Like that's how I view it.
Yeah, states are the thing. That's part of my drum too.
Well, we've had this discussion. Like, man, I'm really happy. It's like, hold on a second.
Oh, well, sorry.
You know,
I wasn't coming down on you.
No, we've had these discussions, and it's really helped me understand, you know, what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, dig a little deeper. Let's examine the words. Let's examine the concepts by which we live. So we can know it when we see it. You know,
and things that have depth and weight, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think and it's all, like I said, all of these things, all of these questions and the answers that we come up with or that we find is all, I think, part of that journey of, you know, maturing as human beings, right?
Yeah.
And
then too, just I want to tag this on the end of that is what do you do with it? And like the obvious answer is you teach your kids those valuable lessons and that approach.
Yeah.
But as we're just along the way, we stop and have breakfast. We, you know, like last spring we did the Tough Mudder. Mm-hmm. You opted out, but I'm saying I
got injured.
I was injured, he says. But you do stuff together. You share with friends. I mean, this is... Yeah. I think, obviously, I mean, there's times when I've overthought this way too much, but it's like, go sit down. Like last night, I talked to Jeremy on the phone, just because I've been talking a lot about myself.
Sure.
And I was like, hey, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
And so we're just doing this all together. And obviously, in modernity and in our current, like, information society, we're just flood with stimuli,
Sure.
data,
Yeah.
stuff to do, kids, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I'm going to go do a full body workout with my buddies on Saturday or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or take a drive. Or Patty and I have been taking pictures of the eagles. You came with
Yeah.
your daughter on the
Yeah.
eagle
It
morning,
was
you know? So
incredible,
just super simple, get together, share. Like
Yeah.
this is the investment in the relationship stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I found all that same stuff.
Yeah, but that's not all of this. None of this is an overnight matter. Like getting to a place where you can appreciate that, right?
Right.
We, I don't know how much of that you actually want to dive into as far as maybe the spiritual piece of evolution.
We can
but
do that on another.
That's fine.
We can do. We'll obviously we'll pick that up too. But
Yeah.
even like, so let me ask you this. So when you bought your first '68 Camaro,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, I'm gonna do this in my garage.
Yeah.
What was the feeling then?
Well, it was a desire, right? It was like I've always wanted to do this, but I never had the courage to do it, or the money for that matter.
Right.
But it was like, it was a commitment. It was a decision.
Right.
It was like
nights, do everything,
well, it
go out
wasn't
there.
even that. It didn't even that evolved. It evolved to be that.
Right.
What it started as was, I had an idea, and I had to go through the process of determining what was I willing to do, right? Anyways,
yeah.
I had some cash. I had some cash from side work and whatnot, and it was like something I'd thought about, and it came down to me making a decision, and the decision was really like whether this takes me a year or 20 years to do.
Open-ended.
It's not going to happen if I don't
Start.
So, clearly projects like this take money. So I was fortunate enough to be able to provide enough to do the project. But the commitment and drive came from an end result, a desired end result.
Yeah, well,
right.
It's always nice if you have that.
Well, and you got
that it doesn't bleed into expectation, all the rest of that.
Well,
That's another
there's a little
trick.
bit of management there, right?
Right,
You
sure.
have to walk away when you need to walk away. You just got to look at it objectively based on where you're at. Family, balance, all these different things going on, and it's like, I think like everything, whenever you're doing or going through something, like being balanced, whether it's spiritually, for me, that's a big piece. Like if I'm just out there being selfish, running my own life and doing crazy things and not worrying about whether or not I hurt people, that's probably not going to be helpful to the overall,
Yeah. And along those lines, like with my diabetes or staying
Sure.
fit or exercise, whatever, it's like,
Yeah.
what is that? It's not as simple as work-life balance.
No, it's
stupid
not.
stuff,
No.
whatever. But
Sometimes it doesn't even look like that, and it's still balanced.
Yeah,
right?
real world stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what am I eating? Am I exercising? Am I sleeping right? Whatever,
Yeah.
all the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, what's the sacrifice? What's the reward? Am I taking care of all the things that I'm supposed to be taking care of? But
Yeah.
that, you don't just, in my experience, it's not like I just was fed up with this idea and not coming to fruition and said, screw it, I'm going to do it. It was life. Life was happening. Life had been getting better and having more balance.
So with all this stuff, focus, project, expectations, like at the end of the day, you got a finished car.
Yeah.
You got, track time, take the kids for a ride. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
That's
why anybody does anything.
Well, here's
right?
the interesting thing is that I learned quite a bit about all of that, right? And where all the chips fell, right?
And all the lessons along the way.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, there's the challenge. I had 3,000 hours in that car in my garage, nights and weekends, working until 2 a.m. Like it was intense, man. And I got it built in 2 years. So, and I worked, 50 hours a week during my, my normal job and family, blah, blah, blah. So it was a big undertaking.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when I was done with it, which I was never done with it, but when it was
When you sold it and you couldn't drive it anymore. Yeah.
Well, let's go. I mean, but when it was done, things started happening that were leading to me selling it.
Oh, right. Sure.
Like being in a state of mind that was an option.
Yeah.
Like that was. So when you do something like this, you might say, I poured my heart and my soul into this deal. I can't possibly bring myself to let go of this thing.
Oh, yeah, right.
But then when you're done, you realize, like, hold on, man. This is, like, that's not why I did this.
Yeah. And does it come down to, it's simply like, oh, it's about the journey. I mean, but it is about the journey, right?
Look, man, I can't afford multiple life experiences. I have to sell one to have another.
Yeah. Right.
So if I had 60 grand in the bank, I'd keep that one and I'd go build another one.
Yeah, for sure.
So inevitably, it was like, hold on, do I want to have this experience or do I want to have many experiences?
Sure.
So it was like this evolution of, I'm a vintage hot rod guy that likes to build cars, right? But that was my bucket build, right?
Yeah,
it was like,
right.
I'll never build another car. This is it. And then when I finished it, I was like, oh, well, what I really learned is that I like going on track and going fast and having fun with reliable vehicles that aren't going to take all my money, right? Which doesn't exist, by the way. But the idea was to find something more manageable, something more reliable.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like, okay, what do I value now? Do I value this nice, shiny thing? Or do I value the experience? You know what I mean?
Right. And so let me interrupt there. So
Yeah.
So you're doing this, and do you think, like, put yourself in somebody else's shoes? Do you think it matters whether let's say it's that hobby, that passion project, whether it's painting at night or if it's music or like, Jeremy running his ultra marathon, whatever. But you, same with me. It's like I remember back when blogging started. It was like you got stuff to say, Patty's writing, Chrissy's writing, everybody's writing. We're doing, pictures, photography, and we have like Wade's a musician. You got all these different types of people, but the uniform thing throughout is that people need a creative outlet.
That's it, man.
Or what you were sharing about your daughter. It's like we can do this thing or that thing, and it's just.
Well, I think ultimately, all of this, the building the car and doing all the things and with the car stuff and, buying car parts and, creatively coming up with solutions to build anyways, all of this is it sounds like this self-care.
Yeah.
It's a creative outlook. I used to not believe it was. I used to just be like, I want a new thing.
Right.
So I got to do more stuff.
Chase the thing, do the work, buy the shit.
Be done with the thing.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing. It's like, well, now I want a different thing. So I'm going to sell that thing. But that's not it.
Right.
It really isn't. So, some of the people who ever watch this may have heard of Brene Brown. I think I've talked to her. So she has these guideposts for wholehearted living, right? And I won't go too much into all that stuff. It's really interesting. It's open.
Because we're not selling books yet.
We're not selling books yet, and we're not she's not sponsoring this podcast. Anyways,
sponsored by Brene Brown.
Yeah, no, she's been around.
I do love her though.
No, she's a researcher by trade.
Yeah.
And
what were you saying? The principles?
So the guideposts of wholehearted living, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know all of them, but in that book, she really breaks down a lot of, like, very descriptively all of these emotions.
Yeah.
Shame, guilt, like all of these things that I've gone my whole life experiencing and not really being able to, understand why I do it, what it does to me, where it comes from,
how to process it, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some inventories where I've looked at these things, but I don't think they weren't really educated evaluations. Like if you talk to somebody that's like studied this stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, one of the guideposts was self-care, basically. I can't remember if that's probably not the exact term, but she would refer to, a particular person in a relationship, and she was talking about the characteristics of wholehearted people, and one of them was that they were lazy, but they were carefree, right?
Okay.
And then I know it sounded.
But
like,
do they have to be lazy?
No,
I
no,
don't understand
no.
that.
This was just part of her research. She would say, she's looking at thousands
this
and
is
thousands
the
of people,
data
right?
that she got.
Yeah, so she
Okay.
compiled a lot of data. But one of them was that they self-care.
Right.
And inevitably, she's like.
And boundaries is one of those too. Like, maybe it wasn't her research, it was somebody else's.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, I mean, it's all, at some level or another, there's some content in there about that. But inevitably, like this, I've tried to apply those things in my life in spite of what my wife thinks, in spite of what the world might think,
oh my goodness,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
don't check with society when it's like, what should I do?
Well, it's like, Todd, this is the 5th day in a row you've been at the diner. And it's like, yeah, dude, this is where I get right in the morning.
Yeah.
I get
the office, he calls
at the
it.
office. Yeah, I go in, I have my breakfast, I chill for about an hour.
Yeah.
And then I go start my day.
I do that here.
Yeah. Well, wherever. It doesn't matter. Like you were just saying, does it matter? Whether it's Jeremy and his ultramarathons.
Which project? Yeah.
It's all creative.
We just got to have the creative outlet.
I mean,
right?
ultimately, all this stuff we're talking about, I think, can be just categorized, right? And that thing for any one person is going to fall into probably one of those categories, right? Whether it's self-care or,
motivation.
Like introverts, they need that time to recover, right? So that little time that they use to recover is, falls into some bucket, where it's categorized as recovery. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you respect that, right? It's like my wife, she's a bit of an introvert. I mean, you wouldn't, she's got a great personality. It's just, she doesn't go out in big social settings for long periods of time. She loves her family, and that's her priority.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, but when she's done, she's done. She's like, hey, this,
time out.
Yeah. So but I'm like, all good. And then when I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go do my thing.
Right.
She'll give me a little bit of trouble sometimes, and I have to react. I have to respond to that. Like, what's my part? But ultimately, that time I spend in the garage, or call it whatever you want. If that's my time to fulfill whatever I truly enjoy for myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
And here's the thing is and then I go out into the world and I try to stay focused on service and things like that.
It seems a little easier.
It seems a lot easier, man. It's like it's not rocket science, man, but that from an altruistic approach to life.
Well, let's call it apparent altruistic.
Okay. I don't know what.
Well, I'll explain it later.
Okay, great. Anyways, going out to try to be of service to people is there's the willingness is undoubtedly there. You know?
Well, and just to touch on that, I mean, everybody does it, whether you shovel the neighbor's, driveway or help with, carpooling or whatever, kids' activities, sporting activities, or in a lot of cases, right? I think there's a tendency to reduce service to others to just monetary philanthropy, because it's totally hands off. It's like, well, here's my money.
Yeah, but I don't think that's.
No, I know, but I'm just saying in a broad sense. What I've experienced is time is when I need help with something, it's time. Yeah, it's not money. Yeah, it's people's time. It's people's ear, stuff like that.
How does it materialize in your life? How does being of service?
The asking for help, what
gets produced? What's the byproduct or the outcome that you're going for? Right? If you are going for one, I'm not.
I know. This is a sticky situation.
Well, it's. I don't want to get into that. Yeah. Well, it's all selfish. It's not. Clearly there's no way to get around that when I don't really care.
Yeah,
I don't care to debate that at all, man. Because for me and a lot of my friends, it's saved our lives. Right. So to be when I first started coming around, I was a hot mess, and I did everything I could to stay busy.
Saying it lightly.
Yeah, but I remember Luke. He's him and his wife Marissa at the time. They had to put a deck on the back. Well, can you? I'll go. Yeah, I'll be over Monday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the weekends. And they're like, I don't want any money for it. I just need to do this.
Well,
you know what I mean?
And then too, isn't that similar to the creative outlets where it's
100%.
like I'm not going to think about myself and my problems or my wants or my needs or whatever while I'm trying to help somebody else.
Yeah, I think the desired result is the same, is the same, but the method in which we go about getting that desired result has evolved. Right, and
I suppose.
or has grown, and now I can do it in these other ways in addition to, right? But there's a lot that goes on to get to that place where you can do something that's somewhat self-serving, and call it self-care, things like that. But I think ultimately, I think it's all. I don't think you can do one and without the other.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
And this is the yin and yang of life. It's like they all exist at the same time.
You can't take. Right? You got to give. You got to have some balance. You got to do whatever it is in your life based on your experience that you need to do. Mm-hmm. You know, and only you know that, right? I mean, and it's just really comes down to the quality of life you have. What do you want?
Yeah.
What are you willing to do to get it?
And long term, it's just kind of about a lifestyle.
It is,
or
ultimately.
Let's call it a practice, maybe.
Sure, ultimately, and it's different for like I would say like there's as many experiences as there are people having them.
Right.
Right. Like nobody's going to have the same experience. We may have similar experiences or methods, but ultimately, like what makes what you find joy in versus what I find joy in. Like, I never thought that I'd find joy in having a bunch of kids and a wife. I just didn't.
Well, 3 is not really a bunch.
Well, it's more than 2.
Yeah.
And it's more than 1. But
I'm just saying from my brother's perspective.
Yeah, you've got more than a few.
Right.
You've got a bunch.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know if I ever really thought about it, if I'm being completely honest. Right.
Like how many? What?
Like how? Like whether or not I would.
Here's my goal.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Like we just.
It just happened.
Well, that's the thing, is that make decisions based on the paradigms that have been shown to us or been presented, and ultimately you see some parts of it that work and provide you with us as humans, I guess, provide us with beneficial results, and then you have things that society tells you need to do that just I find is not relevant in my life today, right? Like the diner, for example, right? If I go into that diner on any given day, there's 10, 12, 75, 80-year-old men in there,
right,
in the corner.
You're that close, buddy.
I am that close. But like society would say, that's what you do. That's perfectly acceptable.
70, right.
When you're 75, you're retired. You go in there and meet with all your old friends, and that's what you do because you're retired. You don't have shit to do.
Right.
But me, I go in there and a lot, and my wife is like, "Are you there again?" And I'm like, "Yep." And I say it with a smile. I'm like, if you got a problem with it, you might want to work on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
let me just tell you what this looks like for me.
Yeah.
And it's gotten a bit monotonous.
Okay.
Like the length of time. Like how long you been going to Ham and Egg there? How long you been going?
Man, I hate to say it out loud, but probably 4 or 5 years.
Okay. All right.
Not as much as I do now, but I had started going there probably 4 or 5. It's been through 3 owners, and I've known all.
Oh, that's goodness.
Yeah.
So I walk down here.
Yeah.
We live half block away. And I don't know what to say about it other than it's pretty routine. It's pretty darn routine.
Well, that's an interesting topic.
Good
right?
and bad, positive and negative, maybe.
Well, change, like I think for a long time, like the example would be like I used to go to a place on Wednesday nights for like 9 years straight, right? And I called that that was an important place for me to go. I met with a bunch of friends. Man, my life has evolved and changed as a result of being part of that group of people and hanging out. And then, within a few months, some of these key people started changing their schedules, and they couldn't make it anymore. And, maybe a little falling out here or there. Right. And it was, and
the group changes.
Yeah. And then I'm like, what happened? Oh man. And I'd hear like Luke again. He'd say, yeah, man, I just needed to change.
Right.
Whatever. So ultimately, it's like that was the next chapter, right? Like in my life, like when that schedule changed, it was like the next thing started. And it was not good or bad.
Right.
I would like to say it was good.
Transitions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So doing this, I think it's,
what?
Like coming here every morning, right?
Okay,
making it kind of, if it's mundane, getting boring. Like, don't get me wrong.
I've enjoyed other stuff, right? I mean, just looking at like Patty and I's 12 years together, or the project's 14 years. Like I've written in Upper Michigan, I've written in Boulder, I've written at virtually all our libraries in this county.
Sure.
Every bread co and whatever. I mean, I've written at every coffee shop. It's like, where am I going to go today?
Yeah.
And I don't really like writing or thinking or whatever, or even studying at home.
Yeah.
It's just, and then you meet people too, 100%. Like for real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I guess this is part parcel of the coffee shop culture. When it started, it was like to go just jacked up on caffeine and engage in discussions or creative, whatever. Like they have open mics here,
Experience some life.
And and it's not like, and there's art on the walls once a month. It's like, I'm not looking for a Picasso, and you're probably not going to find one.
Sure.
But it's just, the culture, people are doing interesting stuff.
Sure.
And then, but not to so you don't know where those transitions are. And it's like, here's some friends, here's some.
No. And I've tried to manage my life to the extent where I can do this whenever I want.
Yeah.
Right. And the truth is that it's probably going to change again.
Yeah.
And I may,
it always does.
It's inevitable. I may never, maybe within the next 3 months, I'll never go back there again. You know what I'm saying? So,
or you get a new owner.
Well, get a new owner, or no, maybe it goes out of business. It's not the point of what happens. Isn't necessarily the important piece. Is that change and ultimately, and in our lives is inevitable. I just, just when I think there's some structure and things are going smooth, and here's the thing. They've been going smooth for a while.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not looking for the other shoe to drop, but I'm just saying, like, in my life and a lot of the people that I hang around with, like, things tend to evolve from time to time.
Yeah, Patty's mom, it was some illness and whatever. It's like, if you need to go take that time,
Yeah. No,
so drawing this out a little bit to, like, some bigger picture stuff, I mean, everybody's doing the best they can, hopefully, like in their, in their days, whatever.
Sure.
But I also, we've seen it, and I mentioned it briefly in, like in the channel intro, long-term sobriety, things like that, spiritual practice. It often doesn't make sense to try to tell somebody something before they're ready to listen, right? Like,
it's difficult.
Yeah, it's like,
it's like almost a waste of time.
Right. But how much of what goes on in the day is I want to show something to you. Advertising, materialism, self-help stuff.
Yeah.
Get fit stuff. Graduate from this, do that, get this degree, be this person, blah, blah, blah. Like, everybody's selling everything all the time.
Yeah, trust me, I get it, man.
And it's like, or even, it's like, let's say your self-examination or inventory or spiritual practice or whatever, you can only share with the willing, and the willing have to, like, come to the, they have to suffer. They have to suffer first.
Yeah, there's no shortcut. Why and how, it's not for me to figure out why, why it can't be transmitted like that. Why can't it be? I mean, it's like when you were younger and your parents or somebody told you, like, I don't want to do that. Here's why.
Right.
I've already done it. It doesn't work. And this is going to be the result. And you're like, yeah, thanks for the heads up. And then you go do it anyways.
I'm going to learn on my own.
Yeah. And it's ultimately, it always comes down to, man, it's an interesting topic, but it always comes down to pain, right? I'm only, I'm not quite sure, but pain is the only thing that's ever motivated me to do anything.
Right.
So anyways, I don't know. It's how it's evolved today is it's just, hopefully I don't have to feel as much pain anymore.
Maybe the threshold's a little
Yeah, it's I don't
lower.
like that much pain anymore.
Right. Yeah.
What do we got?
Till when, 5? Okay.
We're fine.
Yeah,
We're good.
Toddy's got to go.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's always a very interesting topic, right? Like
and we'll touch on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the takeaway for me is that sometimes it's for them and then sometimes it's for me. Right?
Right.
Whether I like it or not or know it or not in the moment, I've come to some realizations just saying some things out loud to myself, like just reiterating, like some of the readings that we both are familiar with. We've read those things, I don't know how many times, and ultimately I read, some days I read a page and it's like, oh shit, yeah, I was like, oh my God, I'm already there. I'm there. I'm where they're saying. I'm right where they're saying that I would be if I did this, this, and this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so when I'm sharing, like last night, I think I was sharing with a gal at dinner, and we're just talking about concepts, right? And she's struggling with some stuff, and I don't know, I can't give them my experience. Okay.
Yeah, nobody can give anybody their experience.
I can't be like, well, this is how it works.
Yeah.
If you, this is how big my spiritual life was back in this time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And here's how big it is now. And I'm telling you what, from day one to day whatever this is, it's changed a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So if anything, I think what I communicated was that if you leave this, that experience is probably not going to happen. But if you don't leave
mm-hmm.
and you just keep trudging or whatever, then there's a good chance that you'll have an experience like this.
Yeah.
Not my experience necessarily,
discipline.
but repetitive practice,
Yeah.
whatever you want to talk, like stay in the game and maybe you'll score. I know it's a cheesy analogy, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not doing the stuff, or if you're not doing the things, you don't get the stuff. You know what I mean?
I think Patty always talks about the signs and Silver Linings Playbook and stuff like that. And I agree with all this, but it's like I always conclude, or seems to be, that the point of signs is to see if you're paying attention. Not that the signs show you what to do or not to do.
Yeah, like mile markers, maybe.
Yeah, or
I can get on board with that.
Yeah, well, okay, but here, for example, let's say it's just like a yellow light, right?
Sure. Ominous warning. Yeah,
caution.
Like I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
But it's not telling you what to do.
No.
It's just like, there's a yellow
it
light.
Might validate something for me, in my experience, what I believe. Like ominous, the whole ominous warning idea, or experience, right? Like, I wouldn't have known it in the time, in real time, but I can tell you, I look back at this experience, and when she said, hey, if you continue this behavior, there's a good chance that you might have some bigger problems.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I go along with my, 6-7 more years of life, only to see the end result being exactly what she referred to. But all I can say is I can look back and say, no, that was a sign.
Right.
But we're only as willing as we are in the moment, right? I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't want to get off track or whatever, but
Right.
ultimately, we can go down a road here that's pretty lengthy, but yeah, I don't know.
Good. And so, we can wrap up this first discussion too.
Sure.
How cool is it? We're just doing this thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm excited. I'm kind of, I don't know if I did good.
It's just
or whatever.
a conversation.
No, I know, man. But it's the setup's pretty cool. I like the venue. It's pretty nice.
Right.
Look like you've done this before.
Yeah,
It's probably Patty's idea, and you're just signing off.
First
on
out
it.
of the gate.
Yeah. So cool.
On the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
I think obviously the only people who are going to talk to me are friends and family.
Well, right now.
And I think this is my point. It's like that's how it starts. So
Sure.
I wanted to have you in here because I love you.
Yeah.
We kind of just muddle through life and share.
Yeah, man.
We're just sharing these subjective viewpoints.
It's pretty good.
And compare and contrast, and maybe everybody learns a little something.
Yeah.
And we can cover more stuff in our next conversation too. But
Sure.
There's times where you call, and my ass is on fire, and you've been there, and so I appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime. Same here, man. No, it's I think as you go through this and talk about, this human process, right? What I think it culminates to is like these extremely valuable experiences that surpass, the mundane crap that life tends to bring us. It's like, I get more value and peace and joy out of our relationship based on just knowing, the commitment we have as friends and stuff like that, not to get all gooey or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we can share, but here's the deal. It's like unconditional non-judgment. Right. It's like, hopefully
I think there's some conditions.
Well, I mean,
We're still both on the same path.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is like in Luke, hopefully you have Luke on here, because like Luke is one of those people in my life.
Yeah.
And like if Luke goes out and murders somebody tomorrow,
You're ride or die.
I'm gonna be like, holy fuck, man, Luke, dude, did you do that? And he's like, yeah, man, I did it.
Right.
Like, oh man, well, that's fucked up, dude. What do I need to do? Do I need to go tell your kids? Do I need to go?
Yeah.
Do I need to drop lunch money off at the school?
Clean up the mess.
Yeah,
maybe.
like what kind of? I mean, dude, I love you, and it's fucked up, and you're probably gonna go to prison for the rest of your life.
Right,
and,
but I'm not going with you.
I mean, and clearly I'm not going with you, but
Right. Chrissy might.
Chris, well, I don't, maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is like, it's like no judgment. Like if he's genuine and honest, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, I can do things that are tough. I go through problems and hard times, and ethically and morally, they may be messed up.
Right. Marginal. Let's call it marginal.
Marginal.
Right.
Well, yeah, marginal. Some of it's negligible too. So, but anyways, all I'm saying is like, Luke never was like, "Hey, man, I can't talk to you anymore, bud. Your character is questionable, and it just doesn't align with my fill in the blank."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, relating with people that are just out here doing the same thing you're doing,
Right.
which is trudging, just doing the best they can.
Yeah.
And some days it sucks. Some days you're not good at it at all.
Right.
Ask me how I know.
Some
right?
days you just get through the day.
Yeah. Some days like I need to stay away from everybody.
But other days you're motivated, you're jacked, you just can't wait for whatever's coming.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, that's out of all the stuff we're talking about here, and I think ultimately some of the subject matter of understanding what it's all about, like a lot of questions, but ultimately from the time we start this process of getting older and learning about life, it's like I feel like I've arrived at a pretty good place where I'm at today.
Yes. So both from your experiences, but from, sounds like, as much as I know you, the
Yeah.
key element is self-examination.
100%. Can't, whether you like it or not.
Daily, all
Yeah.
day, every day, no days off. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I saying
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How am I treating myself? How am I treating other people?
Yeah.
Like, this is,
Yeah.
this is cliche, or, you would think you just take that for granted, but
Yeah. Well,
how much misery can we make
yeah.
the second we are not self-reflective,
Yeah.
right?
No, it's this undisciplined approach that, based on some practice, some spiritual practice, has allowed me to acquire some virtue.
Well, that's a tricky word.
I know. We're not going to get into all
No,
that.
I know. But next conversation, hold
Yeah.
on. We're going to talk about supposed altruism and Aristotelian virtue.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I know what those are, dude. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know what those are.
No, you do. Everybody knows.
Okay.
Everybody knows what this stuff.
Well, I'll make
So-
sure to bring a dictionary next time. And,
Yeah.
or I'll just have my Google on, and we'll figure out what the definition is.
Yeah, I think
Look,
laptop.
and listen, no, that's fine. And it's completely okay that I don't know all of that, right? I want to
yeah.
learn. I think your audience is probably going to be. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know what you're talking about or what you're referring to specifically, maybe in those words. But I think being able to describe them, like Rephetic, like being able to understand what that is. And,
Yeah. Did you know what it is? Or
What do you mean?
The name Rephetic.
No, I didn't. No.
When you asked me what it was,
Yeah.
what did you think of the answer?
Why don't you tell the answer again?
Well, so you asked, and
Yeah,
and,
so
and
what
I-
is Rephetic?
Again, I don't even know when it came up, but
Yeah.
obviously, even in my intro material, I talk about it. But
Yeah.
conclusions of the project, its impact on civilization's history, and I also thought about like honest disclosure and living transparently,
Yeah.
or some amends process or
Yeah.
inventory process.
Yeah.
It's like the idea that something or some information or like freedom of information requests or whatever, or archaeological discovery, that here's a thing that could basically rewrite your
Yeah.
understanding of the past,
Yeah.
was really, an antonym of prophetic. And we all know what that is. It's like, here, we're going to predict the future. However ridiculously unreliable any of that is, predict
Yeah.
the rain tomorrow,
Yeah. Yeah.
But so
I like it.
the-
I think it's.
the antonym to prophetic is Rephetic, and that is somewhere I just arrived on that as the working title, and then obviously our media
Yeah.
stuff and all that. So,
It's catchy.
well, I don't know. It's maybe familiar.
No,
like,
no. It makes sense. Like if I didn't know any better, but I
Well,
would.
let's hope that by having the discussion, inviting people in, it can become a common word. So,
100%. No,
there we
I'm
go.
down. I think it's
Yeah.
great, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah. So until next time.
Yeah.
See you soon. Stay tuned. Todd, thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been awesome, man.
We'll
Thanks
do
for
another
having me.
conversations with Todd.
All right, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, everybody.